Здравейте. Hello, I'm going to speak on English. One question first, before we dive into the digital divide. How many of you here are not IT, not technical person? Digital divide, that's it. Okay, when I was designing the presentation and applying for it, I said I'm going to speak about the digital challenges in North Macedonia from the experience that we had within the NGO Impetus. By the way, I'm coming from an NGO. I'm totally not tech, not IT person. I'm policy researcher, analyst, whatsoever, but not anything related to any acronyms you use these 2 days. But coming to these events as RIPE meetings actually helped me in a way to understand IT community challenges, but also us from the other side, how we should approach cybersecurity, digital security, and digital rights. In that perspective, I'm coming also from a very institutional, let's say, background. I've worked so many years in different institutions. The latest is the Data Protection Agency, and I fully am aware of the GDPR requirements that are actually challenges for you, the IT people, right? But nevertheless, trying to understand where we come from and fear of, missing something, which is the new modern version of the illness that we have in terms of IT and technology developments, because it's influencing our life and our work as well. Together with RIPE meetings, Eurodic, ICANN, IGF, and CDIC are the fora or the initiatives that not only me, but helped persons like me to understand why we're talking about IPv6, what is DNS, what is ISP, what is IPS, what is blah, 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 and etc., etc. So the first meetings were very, let's say, much frustrating, but my point here today is to tell you that we are not following you. We are just trying to reach you and trying to understand what you're doing and what are your challenges, and from a civil society perspective, to encourage you to help us, but also to work with us in order to overcome the digital divide. So, where should I point this? To the laptop. Okay. We had a couple of digital security workshops in the country, and what are the ecosystem challenges. If you haven't heard, there were multiple DDoS attacks in different institutional websites, specifically when we had election and election results that day. More than a couple cyber threats over different institutions and organizations, blocked access to different websites, different account and phishing emails coming lately, so let's say not few, but very often. Also, from the part of the digital security and digital rights challenges, we had different social media disinformation campaigns, but the most, let's say, what triggers me most is not implying and not enforcement of the GDPR requirements in the country. North Macedonia is an EU candidate, is striving for EU membership, but nevertheless is just, let's say, GDPR legislation which is not very much implemented in a way that it should be as EU is requesting. So in the latest workshop that we had, the digital security, with the help also from RIPE, because we had RIPE guests there as speakers, we understood that most of the civil society participants and ordinary people, not IT people, right, are very much having difficulties and frustrated with all of these acronyms that nobody can understand. But also we were down to size, not even explaining how the internet works, because we went from that point, we should explain who you are, right? Who is bringing the internet to our houses, who's relevant to when there's no internet supply in the country, or what happens when we have a phishing email or DDoS, and what are the certs in the country doing, and blah, blah, blah. And we then figured out that we had to go even downsize to the knowledge sharing and information, to speak about use of passwords, two-factor authentication, changing the Wi-Fi regularly. You could see all on the slides. It's a joke for you, this, right? It's too easy. It's too basic. I know. You can freely laugh about it. But this is the digital divide and the digital gap, because the IT community is something to whom we are addressing, and we want to follow, and we want to build partnership with. So what is the problem? The problem is that within each organization, and not even civil society organization, but let's say even in different private entities, cybersecurity workforce development is something that is really not fastly, let's say, developing and ongoing, and it is usually outsourced. So when I engage an IT guy to come and do stuff in the organization about digital security, it means that I'm outsourcing the, let's say, the potential, but also I'm outsourcing all of the data that are in the organization. And we are collecting sensitive data. Just think of these civil society organizations that are working on victims from trafficking human beings, child pornography, and different human rights activists. So this is not only a cost, this is not only a financial problem for these human rights activists, civil society organizations, but it's also a problem because we are not only outsourcing, but we are giving the potential vulnerability, as you say, for intrusion of privacy, but also of data breach. And one thing why we should partner, I want to end this on a positive note here, it's together. Together, let's shape the future of internet, as Raipe Banner is saying, because you have to understand the core business of the civil society now is internet, is being on internet and promoting on internet and working with every human right online. So human rights online became our core business, and with that we definitely need the IT community to be supportive and to work closely with us in order to be digital. There is no digital divide into it. There are some figures and statistics that I've taken from the State Statistical Office, but is, let's say, kind of a growth strategy to develop something together. And also to say thanks, big thanks to Raipe NCC, because this is the forum where I was able last time to meet influential people, but also people that helped me as a focal point for Eurodic this month that happened in Finland. I was able to actually structure and shape the content of one important session about internet infrastructure, the impact of war, Russia and Ukraine, and how that actually was important, and it is important for all of us to keep the internet open, secure, but also to be able to talk and discuss and understand why we need this to be together. Thank you so much.